Look, I know you've already achieved unheard of levels of success as an entrepreneur. So the real question is, while the world is radically shifting, how do we not get caught up in the chaos, but instead access our untapped capacity? You know what I'm talking about. I'm Katie Richardson, business coach to superstar entrepreneurs and host of What's Working Now. I'm here to show you how to unlock and magnify your untapped potential so that we can create the dream, live with purpose, and do what we are born to do. On this podcast, we are asking a different set of questions. Be present, be curious, be right now. Let's go. Hit that subscribe button and go to what'sworkingnow.com, drop in your email, join the waitlist so you never miss an episode of What's Working Now. And I'll see you on the inside. Hey, welcome to What's Working Now. Today, we are going to discuss how you can increase your revenue and profit margin with proven systems. Who's going to teach us how to do this? It's Heidi DeCoux. Who is Heidi? You might be asking. Cool. I'll tell you. Heidi is a serial entrepreneur who's built 4 businesses with 50% plus profit margins. Can you keep that in mind? Heidi, that's huge, by the way. Like, there are so many people with vanity numbers out there and they are not even profitable. So that's huge. She sold 3 of them, one of which was a 7-figure exit. Hello. Love this. And has appeared in magazines and websites like Forbes. She's become known as the optimizer because she's passionate about helping entrepreneurs optimize their business and life, which is also so important, Heidi. I love this. She's combined her passion for optimization with her marketing and business skills to launch her newest company, Alchemy Teams, which is designed to help small businesses increase revenue and profit margin by transforming their team and leveraging AI. Are we talking about AI today? I'm so excited, Heidi. Okay. Heidi, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, I'm excited because one, you and I are neighbors. I know you're in Texas right now, but we know each other because we both live in Puerto Rico, which is so fun and so cool. And as I've gotten to know you, and definitely from this bio, you can see it. Like, you are a woman who is gifted and talented in many areas, has had multiple successful companies, and we could go in lots of different directions. And today we're going to really talk about focusing on systems and how you can optimize your team and your processes. You know, given your experience, I know that you have a really unique perspective on the world. So tell us the story of that experience that has really formed and shaped your unique experience of the world.
Yeah. So for well over a decade now, I guess about 12 years, I have been working with overseas team members. And that's one of my big secrets to keeping 50% plus, profit margins in my business. And then I also love to travel. So I am, a world traveler. So also going to different parts of our world and really seeing what's happening on the ground and what life looks like on the ground. It makes me feel really, really good that I'm able to provide life-changing income and stability to our brothers and sisters across the planet. And,
I love it.
And many of I would say probably 80% of the workers are women, and the statistics are crazy on when we put more money in the hands of women worldwide, but especially in developing nations, the ripple effect that has on our planet. Women do good with money. We know that definitively. The statistics are, very clear. And also, when you're, employing people overseas, you can do things like pay for their generator so that not only are they able to show up to work, but now they can make food for their kids. They can give their kids baths. They can just live in a household that's not constantly having power outages, many of which are for, full day or days, on end. You can provide them, satellite internet, and you can provide them with a full-time helper in their house that's doing the cooking and the cleaning, because you can do that for about 120 to 150 US dollars. And so we're also reducing the amount of free work that women do. I'm a big advocate of women doing less free work. The statistics on that are also crazy. Women worldwide do something like, I don't know, $160 trillion of free work. Even just women in the US, I was just reading recently, by getting a male partner, they're doing an average of 7 additional hours of housework a week by just getting a male partner. And in the developing nation, that's even worse. And so So one of the things that's really shaped my viewpoint is that we are a digital world without borders. And so there's no reason that your company can't be a worldwide company without borders. And you have team members from all over the world that also bring in diverse perspectives and things that your company can be better, well balanced, and just everything can just actually flow better. And then you can save on your bottom line.
Yes.
Payroll is the number one expense. And so I've got a system that I talk about where you want to have an operational layer in your business and then a strategy layer. So your operational layer is really your team that's running admin and customer support, maybe doing graphic design, development, that kind of thing. And then you have your strategy layer, and that's really kind of people sprinkling magic on your business. So that's your like really high-end copywriters, maybe a certain type of project manager. They're doing, that kind of work. And so often your strategy layer is like local or stateside or Canada based, somewhat local. And then your operational layer, all or most, can be overseas. And then you really can eliminate everything in between, which dramatically is your profit margins, right?
Yes.
And, now, especially in the time that we're kind of in a recession that may get worse here. Time will tell. We need to all be battening the hatches. The other beautiful thing about setting your business up, so you've got this operational layer and this strategy layer, and you've got a lot of overseas people, is you're not overworking everyone. So you can reduce your payroll dramatically. Like you could cut it easily in a third. I've had clients that have cut it down to 1/10 of what they were paying. However, or the other benefit is, instead of maxing everybody out every week where they're all working their max hours, they're able to get their full-time salary, but you can give them 30, 35 hours a week. Some weeks they only have 25 hours of work. So there's always room for more things. You're not just like maxing out your team every month and everybody's strapped and stressed. And every time a new challenge comes up or a new fire, or you have a new idea, you have no one to give it to because everybody's fully maxed. You actually have a team that has breathing room, and you have a team that's
which is huge. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I really want to point this out, because as human beings, ultimately, like at the end of the day, we all want to be doing something that's meaningful. And sometimes hiring somebody overseas is only in the beginning, it can only be about the transaction, right? Saving money, increasing profits. And that's not necessarily bad, but it's also not necessarily meaningful. And what you described, going to visit these individuals and seeing their surroundings and seeing how much this is impacting their life and buying them a generator, like that becomes meaningful. And I think there's a lot of value in just that, in reframing it in that way, and really understanding that, yes, we are increasing profits and we are changing people's lives really profoundly in ways that will probably impact generations. And that's meaningful. That's super meaningful. And then the way that you broke it up into operations versus strategic employees, and really understanding that simple but profound framework, which can then help you identify, because sometimes it's like, well, but I need someone who's ultra gifted and talented in this little specific thing. Cool, go hire that person. Maybe they only work 10 hours a week for you, and like everything else is operational. You can outsource that overseas. And so create that impact and change internationally, and find the A players who are ultra gifted in that area that you need for that specific strategic part of your business. I love it. I don't like things that are complicated, Heidi. And so the way you broke that all down was really fantastic. Super good. So on paper, and probably even listening, like, cool, that's great, Katie. How do I actually do that? And that's oftentimes the gap. It's like, I know. And in fact, I told you, I was talking to a client who was like, I need to hire some overseas help. And she was like, where do I even start? And I was like, go find an expert. And I pointed her to you. So share with people how you begin to make that shift in that transition.
Yeah. And that was really why my co-founder and I created Alchemy's teams, because we were helping so many of our friends do what we had done successfully. And we're like, we actually have a system. Why don't we just like put our system together and make it plug and play. And so our system, which is actually launching the day that we're recording this, not the day that it got released, so it should already be out. But that's what it is. So we say, okay, here are the job templates of the 12 roles that you may need or will need in the future, the 12 most common. Here's where to put them. Here's in 15 minutes how to set up a pre-vetting funnel online. So it's going to kind of auto source. Yeah, those so that you're only getting delivered, kind of more.
I mean, I just have to hop in. Like so often that becomes an issue and that becomes a bottleneck as people are like, oh, I'm going to open a position and they get flooded with all of these applications when really you should only be talking to 3 of those 100 people. So you've got a funnel for how to qualify people. So
exactly.
Good. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. And then the next step is, so with overseas talent, it's very, very different process than local. And our system shows both. So we have a whole system if you're doing like US based, Canada based, or even European based talent. And we have the whole system for that. For overseas talent, that system is included. It's completely different. So that system, the interview process is really not very important. It's the testing process. So you need to put them through a series of tests to test their skills, to test their communication, to test their response time, to test, do they ask follow-up questions? How do they communicate with you? How fast did they get it done? And then you're also doing some personality tests. And so we give you all of the different tests to give them, and then how to assess the results of those tests so that you know if this person is going to work out for you long-term. And then a scorecard system where you're going to score them. So if you make the hire, here's how to make the offer. We give you the salaries, like what you should pay for all these different positions. And then like the different benefits you want to give, like a generator, that costs $200. You want to do that within, after 90 days that they've successfully worked for you if they're full-time and, different things like that. So we go over all of that. And then how to score them every 15, 30, 90 days and onward. Because if they're not a good fit, you want to get to know that as quickly as possible, ideally within 30 days. So we show you how to make the best hire possible, but you're still not going to strike 100% all the time. You're going to make a hire that didn't work out. So how to suss that out very quickly so you can then free them and then you can, move on to the next person and you're not investing, too long in people. So like all of that we do in our plug and play system because we just saw this huge need in the marketplace.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Heidi, this is clearly very thorough. And what's interesting, like even as you talk about testing their communication skills and their response time, like they might be incredible at interviewing, but if they don't know how to communicate to you, or if they're not responding to you in a timely manner, like that becomes a breaking point.
Yeah.
And so I love how thorough this process is. Do you ever have clients who take this process and they hand it to an overseas VA and say, hey, will you fill one of these spots? And here's exactly how to do it.
Yes. 100%. So one thing, once you have, if you're going to have like your operational layer be several overseas people, you do want to get a chief of staff. So an overseas chief of staff that's going to manage all of the local people. And they're going to do all of the hiring and scorecards and just everything, replace positions, everything. And then that chief of staff, in addition, they're really a super high level kind of executive assistant that also, or I would say even business operations, depending, you can get somebody that even just really kind of be COO to a certain level of COO, but for like a small online business, they really could be your COO and manage your overseas team really well. And the beautiful thing about that is the overseas people are going to be much more willing to open up to and talk to somebody that like lives in their country and that they know understands their culture than you. So I'm going to tell you a story of a lesson. So I figured that the system that I created and that we're launching right now was blood, sweat, and tears for 15 years.
Oh, I am sure, Heidi. Like
I made
no way
all of the mistakes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you a story from years ago, one of my businesses. So we had this fantastic graphic designer. We're like, just in a launch. And so we're keeping her super busy. And she, fantastic, always showed up. All of a sudden she goes dark. Like she just like literally goes dark off the grid for like 4 days in the middle of a week. And we're like launching and we're like, what happened? So I finally get a hold of her, and you know what she says? I am so sorry. I had a baby.
Oh,
I
yikes.
had no idea she was pregnant. She never told us. And she said, I was like, what? Like, she said, I didn't tell you I was pregnant because I thought you would fire me because I was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so, I learned in that a lesson around cultural stuff, what happens to women there. And,
Mm.
and so we explained, of course, and now we have as part of our onboarding, which that's included in our system too. We give you a whole onboarding system that's plug and play to use with your team that teaches them that we need you to open up to us and to communicate, and your job is safe. We give them that psychological safety. We teach you how to create that.
Wow.
And your company, and that we will give you paid time off. And we have, right ahead of time for full-time workers, we tell them how much paid time off, and we're very generous with it. And the good news is, because of the rate you're paying, which is very high for them, they can live, a very quality of life. They can get paid significantly more by you than what they could make locally for a similar position. So they're being well taken care of, but because for you, it's so much less money, you can be very generous in your benefits. You can be generous with your paid time off. You can be generous with, them working 40 hours, getting paid for 40 hours, but really only working 25, 30, 35, depending on the week. Right.
Okay.
And so, so setting them up for that, but that's just one of many things that's very different. And that, the onboarding needs to be different. And, Katie, one thing you had brought up that I wanted to mention that's important for viewers, if you're having both overseas talent and you're having local, when I say local, I mean, US or Canada, whatever, European talent, so with the local talent, they can interview really well and not do the job well. That's like a common thing to happen. With overseas, opposite. Often they will interview very poorly, and they will often be your best employees. It is the complete opposite. Hence why the whole system is completely opposite, right? We're dealing with different cultures and so many different variables that you do have to have an entirely different system for both.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. And I experienced that. We were hiring an office position in our warehouse and interviewed like 70 people, got it down to 2. And we loved one of them, but we did something probably that's part of your system, which was like, we did a trial day before we extended the opportunity to 2 different individuals. And the one who interviewed really, really well, she just wanted to sit around the office and chat. Like, she was great at talking and not working. And the other one was a workhorse. She didn't talk a whole lot, and she was like doing. And so it totally flipped. We thought we were going to hire the chatty girl until we realized that she's just a talker. And so, to your point, you have to test them. But what I love is you have this whole system for testing them. And there's very clear things that we're identifying, and we're assigning a value to that. And so we're scoring it, which just helps us get clear on who we're going to move forward with, which is awesome. We're recording this in the spring of 2023. AI has come online in the last few months, and like every month that technology is just compounding and it's getting exponentially better. And you mentioned that AI is a part of your process and your what you're teaching people. So I don't know if there's like a connection between AI and what we've been talking about with hiring overseas teams. Maybe you're training them on AI, but like, how can we integrate those 2 things to continue to increase profits in our business?
Yeah, when we're working with clients doing a consulting contract. So with our system, it's really just a plug and play hiring onboarding system. But when we're working with clients doing consulting, we have a process where the first thing we do with you and your team is a time and energy audit. So we're going to do an audit of you and your entire team, what you're spending your time on, what is sucking you dry, and what is, giving you life energy. And that is always eye-opening for the founder, for the business owner. It's completely eye-opening. And we recommend that you do that at least twice a year, but that's the first step. Then the second step is we look at what everybody's doing and we say, okay, what of these things can be deleted because they're really not moving the needle? It's the Pareto principle, 80-20, right? 20% of what you're doing. It's maybe not quite 80-20, but there is a percentage of stuff that's happening in your business, some of which you're going to find out as a business owner, there's redundant things happening or things that you thought no longer were happening. You thought you ended it, but there's people that like didn't get the memo and they're still doing this thing. So in our system, it's really just a plug and play system for, finding, vetting, hiring, onboarding. When we're working with clients doing consulting work, that's when we get into the systems, the AI. And the first step is we do a time and energy audit for the founder and for all of the team members.
And why does that matter?
Eye-opening experience.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, can people hear that? Time and energy audit. There are things that you're doing in your business that are draining you, that are sucking the life out of you. And so Heidi's going to come in and help you specifically pinpoint, identify what those things are. But then, I have to do those things. I don't love them, but I have to do them. But do they, Heidi? So what is it? How are you helping them to eliminate those things?
Yeah. So the first thing that we do is we do that with you. And if you have a team, your team, because you'd be surprised too, some of your team is doing things that are sucking them dry and they're not telling you. They're building some resentment around it.
Yes, they are.
Really eye-opening experience that I believe every business should do twice a year. We make it very easy to do this time energy audit. It's a very simple exercise, but it's eye-opening. Then we take a look at that. And the first thing we do is delete. So there's a bunch of things that are happening that some of which you don't even realize are happening. You're going to be like, wait, I thought we quit doing that thing, but it's still like happening. Like somebody didn't get the memo. And then there's things that are just not moving the needle. They're not making an impact. It's the Pareto principle, like the 80-20. It's not 80-20, but like there is something. So we just start deleting. First of all, we delete. The next thing we do is we say, all right, we want to automate. We're going to leverage technology and AI to do automations. And so we're going to look at all of the different things. Often there's like marketing functions. There's different functions that can be automated. So we're going to get that done. So first we delete, then we automate. The next step is to rebalance the team. And so what's left that's sucking people dry that needs to get off their plate, and even if it's not sucking them dry, even if it's something like, oh, I don't mind doing this, but they're doing something that somebody for $5 an hour overseas can do, it doesn't make sense for you or one of your strategy layer team members that you're paying, say, $30 an hour or more to should be doing that, right? And so we look at a rebalance of the team and say, all right, we need to have an operational layer and we need to have a strategy layer. What do each look like? How do we fill this so that the team is not maxed out all the time? The team actually has breathing room, space, so you can actually grow and scale the company. The founder and anybody else related to sales in the organization is freed up to do high leverage revenue generating activities because they have a very solid operational layer below them handling all of the stuff. And we're going to get about 90% of that minutia and stuff off of the founder's to-do list and off their plate. And so that's really, in a nutshell, what we do with the clients that we work, directly one-on-one with.
And if you're listening to this and wondering, is my team overloaded? Are they building up resentment towards me? If you're even asking that question, the answer is yes, because unless you intentionally are setting up systems and processes to ensure that that's not happening, then it is happening. It's kind of the default. And especially if you as the owner and founder are overworked and stressed out, then 100% it's happening down the line. It all starts at the top, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Heidi. So, for this individual who is listening to this and saying, okay, you're describing me, I am overworked and probably my team is overworked and building up resentment towards me, and I do need to implement these processes. What's kind of the first step for them to start doing something about this?
Yeah. I mean, your first step is a time study and energy audit, which can be a simple Google Doc, Google Sheet. And you just put in, the day, the hours, and have your team and you do it in 15-minute increments. I mean, obviously some things like this interview will be, let's say 40 minutes. So then you'd put in 40 minutes, but down to the 15 minutes, they're putting in their entire day of what they're doing. And then you're highlighting it based on how it makes you feel. And so you want to do, like orange is this sucks me dry, green is life-giving, white would be like, it's just neutral. Like I'm fine either way, whether I do this. You want to do a time study energy audit for at least 2 weeks for everybody on the team. And then you're going to, analyze that.
For 2 weeks. Okay. That's good to know. Awesome. Yeah. So I want to kind of start to kind of zoom out and look at your business and things that are effective and working for you. And so as you look at the bright spots in your business and the things that are really working. What's working now, Heidi, for you and your
What's
business?
working now is high touch. We've really shifted where people are wanting high touch. And so like with our system, our grab and go system, we actually are including unlimited 15-minute one-on-one calls with my co-founder and I for 6 months, everybody that invests in the system.
Wow.
I know we can't do this forever, but we're doing it right now during our launch.
That's awesome.
Because we just see how much people are craving high touch. They just want to like get my question answered. I want to be able to jump in and get on a call, tell you what's going on. And I want you to give me exactly what I need to do. Give me the support so I can get off and like move on. I don't want to sort through information. I don't want, so we've really made our system like templates, grab and go templates, execution. It's not a bunch of tutorials you have to go through. And then as you need help, you just get a one-on-one call, like get on a call and like, let's sort it out and get what you need and go. And then, with our consulting, it's very high touch, right? Where we're, working with you and your team to get it all implemented. And I'm just seeing that across the board, that all of my, business besties are now moving in the direction of taking their, what used to be kind of just online digital courses and going into more high touch, either done with you or done for you services, or more of a consulting where, I guess that would be kind of done with you. So like done with you or done for you services.
Yeah. It's interesting as you describe that, like the outcome of that is speed, and every entrepreneur wants to move faster and be more efficient and get results sooner. And so that high touch component, and what was fascinating is, certainly, like you said, your consulting side of the business is high touch, but what's cool is how you took a component of high touch and you added it to your program. I think we've all bought courses and programs where we maybe made it like 3 or 4 modules in and we're like, and we like fizzle out. And I think having a component like that can really ensure that people don't fizzle out, that they start to build that relationship with you, that they get the value that they invested in. And that allows you to price it at a premium as well.
Yeah. I think people like knowing they don't have to hunt down the answers to their questions. I can just jump on a call with 3 questions, get them done and like move on and actually get results. I can just like implement. I'm not like, learning or looking or trying to like figure out, am I supposed to do this or am I supposed to do that? Or is this, I have a special situation. They can just like talk about their special situation and we can get it sorted for them.
It's like your program comes with this no fail insurance policy called a 15-minute call for 6 months, anytime you need one. Like that's really good. I really like that.
No fail insurance policy. Yeah. So we're going to use that.
It's like anytime you get stuck, you can hop on with me or a member of my team and we'll show you what you're missing and how to better apply this. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. So do you have time for a couple rapid fire questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So I really believe in the power of habits. And I think it's important to notice kind of things that we're doing on a really consistent basis. So what's something that you do consistently every day that you really feel like has contributed to your success?
Yeah, for a number of years, every single morning I wake up and I have this really good high quality mushroom coffee that I mix butter and a good marine based collagen in. And if you don't know the value of like butter coffee, y'all can Google it. It basically turns your brain on, turns your metabolism on. It's really healthy. It keeps you in a somewhat fasting, mode. So if you're somebody who does intermittent fasting, you can have your butter coffee on it. And I do the butter collagen. So that is a habit that I started years ago. That's just kind of a diehard. Even when I'm traveling, I have my little frother with me and I make sure I get some like Whole Foods butter wherever I am.
Yeah. I think that's so awesome because we've all have to have something that kind of gets us in state, gets us in the mode. And we certainly need support from our body physically for that energy. So that's great. Awesome habit. And did you say it was a mushroom coffee? Like, is it coffee with mushrooms in it? Or I've seen actual quote coffees that don't have coffee in them. It's just mushrooms.
No, it is a coffee. Yeah. And you could use any high quality coffee. The one that I use is by the brand Four Sigmatic. It's available at, Amazon, Whole Foods, everywhere. And I like it because it's instant packet. So even when I travel, I just have the instant packet with me. All I have to do is heat up water, put some, salt-free grass-fed butter in it and, froth it up. And then I'll carry my little collagen with me. So yeah, that's what I use, is just the little instant packets that have all the good mushroom. Also, it just gives you that extra, superfood, mushroom, whatever, nutrients. I'm always like, how can we just like plug more nutrients into my day? So it's like, boom, I got that in my coffee in the morning.
Yeah. Love this. I told you this was a rapid fire question, but we're going deep on mushroom coffee. I really feel like as entrepreneurs building businesses, sometimes we'll be at that critical moment where somebody said the right thing at the right time. And it was that advice that really helped us in that critical moment. Do you have a story or an experience where somebody shared advice that really helped you?
Yes. My dear Aunt Beverly was an accountant. She was a controller at Carleton College, her whole career, phenomenal at finance and numbers. Early on in one of my first businesses, we were at just like a family event, and she was congratulating me on, starting a business. And she said, watch your bottom line, focus on the net profit, not the vanity number. Watch your bottom line, focus on that net. And I took that to heart. And so I, like you mentioned at the top of this interview, have built 4 businesses with 50% plus profit margins, because I took what she said to heart, and I have seen businesses that are doing, like 2 million in revenue, and the business owner's taking home like $60,000 a year. I'm like, that's crazy. That is so much work to run a huge company so that you can make no money. Right. Or I mean, the amount of money that you could just make just doing like a job that was like way easier than running this huge organization that has huge risks and huge stress and everything with it. So watch your bottom line.
So good. Oh, I thought it froze there for a second, but it didn't. Okay, we're good. Okay. And like, what's so incredible is you learned that so early on. I will tell you, it took me years to figure that out. And it took me years to understand that I was not here to serve my company, that it was here to serve me. And like, making money is a good thing, Katie. Grow your resources.
Yeah. So instead of having fantastic. $1.5 million business where you're taking home 100,000, what if you have a $600,000 business and you're taking home 400,000, right? Like,
yes. And Heidi, that is the business that I have today. I don't have a huge vanity number like I did with my physical products business, but I can tell you like 95% of the money is going into my pocket, and I'm working part-time, and I do things that I love, and I work with people that I'm excited and yes, 100%. I love this. There's a lot of books and advice out there, and I would really be curious about a book that maybe has been really valuable to you.
One of my fave books right now that everybody needs on their nightstand is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And a quote that he gives in the book.
I have not heard of that one. Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. A quote he gives in the book is, if you don't have an assistant, then you are the assistant. And you come with a hefty price tag and subpar performance.
That is so true. Yes. Oh my gosh.
So we actually follow his whole matrix around buying back your time when we're working with clients. When we do the time study, he has an entire matrix, and that's what we follow in our system and with our clients, where we're buying back their time. We're buying back the time of their team members so they can have this high profit business that they love, and that's fully systematized.
Well, and that kind of goes along with what I was talking about, like building a business only to realize it wanted everything from me. I think I shared this in a different podcast. And like when I was building my business in the beginning, it wanted everything from me. It wanted all of my sleep. It wanted all of my patience. It wanted anything, all my energy and reserves. And I just kept feeding it all of those things. And then at the end of the day, I had nothing for my husband, nothing for my kids, and didn't feel connected to God. And I was tired and exhausted. And so I love this process of like really optimizing for energy, really optimizing for buying back your time, because at the end of the day, that's why we're building these businesses, is because we want freedom. We want to own our time. And without realizing it, we can build this monster that like has all of these demands of us. And it doesn't have to be that way. And Heidi has the systems to help you do this. So you can optimize for profits so that you have resources, and you can optimize for owning your time, being able to go and travel and do the things that you feel called to do. Heidi, this has been absolutely incredible. I really appreciate the wisdom that you have shared with us today, the personal examples and stories that you have shared, and even the resources. This is fantastic. And I know that we're just scratching the surface of how you can help people. So you've mentioned that you have this, grab and go system that people can access. Where can they find you and find that system?
Yeah, go to our website, which is alchemizedteams.com. alchemizedteams.com. We have a couple of free guides you can download. One of them is the definitive guide to hiring a rock star virtual assistant. One of them is the flywheel, the systems, technology, and people flywheel, which is what we do when we work with clients directly. We systematize SOP your whole business and help you leverage AI and technology, and then help you get that team that we talked about today. So we have those free guides for you. And then our actual system and consulting services, all the information is there. alchemizedteams.com.
And we'll make sure to have a link to that in the show notes. So thank you. Heidi, this has been amazing. Really appreciate all the value that you have brought today. And now you just shared these incredible resources. Thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you for having me, Katie. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, you're welcome. And for everybody listening, this is What's Working Now. Hey, What's Working Now listeners, what if you could turn your vision into reality? It turns out it's not that complicated. And the secret is revealed in my incredible guidebook, Be the One, How to Plan and Execute Your Unique Vision. It features my custom GPS method to ensure you get there fast. With this guidebook, you'll create a clear vision, a plan, and a path for getting there fast. Now you'll finally know where to focus and if you're on the right path. You can get your copy today for less than the cost of a Chipotle dinner. So if you're an entrepreneur and integrity matters to you, faith and family matter now, not later, and you feel called to make big contributions to the world, go to now.katierichardsson.com/guidebook and get started living your purpose today.